On Monday last week, I was in Los Angeles to talk to the guys from the All In podcast. You know, our pal David Sachs, he's on the show all the time, at their yearly All In Summit conference. Now, I love that they do this because they are actual tech gurus. These guys are billionaires. They're extremely successful. And the only person who's been doing like the really successful tech conference is that villain, Kara Swisher, who is a leftist who hates everyone who's not as far left as she is. So they're giving her a run for her money. They're getting all the big names. Elon was there, and I met him backstage. More on that in a second. So I love that they're doing it at all. And all the people there were these young, smart, successful tech guys and gals. The audience was really dynamic. And I got to know the other co-hosts who I didn't know. I know David Sachs, of course. David Friedberg's been on the show once before. So is Jason Calcanis, who, well, you know, there was an incident when he came on, but I like him. And Chamath was there as well. And we all spoke to close out the first day of their conference right before Elon came on. Here's a look at that.
And then what about Hillary versus Kamala?
Oh, God. Well, Hillary was smart. The problem for Kamala Harris is she's not smart. She's not a deep thinker. She's very surface level. Yeah, she's giggling just like that all the
Spicy. Megyn, tell us how you feel. Really, be honest.
And it's a cover. It's an obvious cover, right? It's like she gets to the point where she doesn't know what she's saying. Even she doesn't know what she's saying. And it's like, ah! And so you feel uncomfortable watching her. And then she gave her first interview to CNN. And suddenly, if that's drunk Kamala, suddenly we're dealing with hungover Kamala. Like, my values haven't changed. Like, clearly somebody had told her, you cackle, we're out of here.
Yeah.
Right? So,
what did you think about her bringing her emotional support white guy?
Exactly. Her emotional support governor. He was her big white blankie. Like I
mean,
used
it
to
made
have
no
as a toddler.
sense. Like, it seemed like a terrible strategic decision. Like, who's making the decision to do that?
I agree. I objected to the whole thing. I think he was there for two purposes. One was, yes, in case she got in real trouble, he could step in.
Yeah.
And the other was to suck up some of the airtime so she had a couple of fewer questions to answer.
We look at the 5 cases, 6 months from now, a year from now. Let's assume all 5 of them go to trial. He's guilty of 3 so far.
Wait, what do you mean he's guilty of 3 so far?
Well, he's been convicted of 3, sorry.
What do you mean? No, he hasn't.
I love this.
Eugene Carroll was guilty.
That was not a conviction. That was a civil case.
Okay, well, yes, so that's what I'm talking about. So that
okay, but there's a big difference.
It's still he was convicted. He was guilty of that. He got a settlement. In the Trump organization, they're guilty there.
That, again, was civil, libel.
Yes, of course. But these are the cases we're talking about. And in the third one...
she's a lawyer, right?
Yeah, of course. And in the third one... I'm just talking about the 5 cases. Yes, some are civil, obviously, and some are not. Some are criminal. But if we look at all 5 cases...
You said 3 convictions. Now you're walking it back.
I'm not walking it back. There's 3 in which he was...
You should walk it back.
Okay, I'm so glad Megyn is here.
Of the 5, 3 of them he's either guilty or...
He got a bad result.
Yeah, got a bad result. There are 2 more. If he is found guilty of those 2 more, Megyn, and 5 of 5, he had a bad result. Way to frame it. Will you chalk all 5 up in your mind to 5 different jurisdictions, 5 different prosecutors, 5 different juries and or judges, all conspiring to get him?
100%.
Okay.
Yes.
That's all I wanted to hear your answer to. 5 of 5 different jurisdictions. Yeah. You think it's all lawfare?
Eugene Carroll, they changed the law so that she could bring a civil lawsuit against him, and she did. New York went 87% for Joe Biden. That fix was in right from the start. The fraud trial that Letitia James brought against him has never been brought. There's no victims. The banks who were involved said, we didn't lose a penny. What are we doing here? We weren't damaged. Nobody was complaining except Tish James, who ran for office saying, I will get him. Then you have Alvin Bragg, who's a George Soros-funded prosecutor who doesn't like to prosecute any crime in New York City, where I lived for 17 years, except if your name is Donald Trump. Let's go down to Georgia, where Fani Willis and Nathan Wade couldn't keep their libidos in check long enough to actually bring this case against Donald Trump. It's a repeat of what was happening in January 6th up in the case with Judge Chutkan, who loathes Trump and has sentenced almost every J6 defendant to way more jail time than their counterparts would get. Those are falling apart because of presidential immunity, which was handed down by the Supreme Court, who said you cannot bring a criminal case against a sitting president for any official act. Those cases have been gutted. Also, a Supreme Court ruling saying the same on January 6 defendants in general. And that leaves us with Florida and the documents. And Trump has torn that apart because Jack Smith wasn't properly appointed and isn't the right counsel. But there are other issues. They haven't even gotten to presidential immunity there. And so that one's going nowhere as well. And by the way, they're going to appeal it up to the 11th Circuit. She just threw it out. The 11th Circuit is conservative. And thank God, so is the current Supreme Court. They're not going to tolerate that nonsense.
Let me ask you about...
I think Jay Cal just lost his right to ever bring up lawfare again.
We had fun. I appreciated Jay Cal bringing that up because obviously he knew I was a lawyer and he's not. So I think that was him being generous to me. That was him being kind. I appreciated it. And I loved being out there. And I met Elon Musk, who I've never met before. It was very cool. He is truly larger than life. He came backstage and it's like, oh my God, it's like the seas parting. There's Elon. And we had a very nice exchange. I said, I shook his hand and I said, thank you for saving free speech in America. And he said, same to you, which was very sweet. But man, he really has. He really has. Think about all the things we can talk about now in an honest way that we couldn't before he took over Twitter, now X. I'm sincerely grateful to him. I'm sure you know why. I'm sure you can feel it too. Do you owe back taxes or have unfiled returns? Along with hiring tens of thousands of new agents and field officers, the IRS has been sending over 5 million pay-up letters to those who have unfiled tax returns or balances owed. Don't waive your rights and speak with them on your own. Instead, Tax Network USA, a trusted tax relief firm, has saved more than $1 billion in back taxes for their clients, and they might be able to help you secure the best deal possible. Whether you owe $10,000 or $10 million, they can help you. Whether it's business or personal taxes, even if you have the means to pay or if you're on a fixed income, they can help you. Finally resolve your tax burdens once and for all. Call them at 1-800-958-1000 or visit tnusa.com/Megyn. Don't let the IRS control your life. Empower yourself with Tax Network USA's support and take charge of your financial future. Visit tnusa.com/Megyn today. Thanks so much for watching. If you like what you just saw, hit the subscribe button for more clips and full episodes.